Kia ora, good morning. You just have to bear with me because I've only been up about 15 minutes. I've only been awake about 15 minutes, but I have to document this dream that I had. It was weird, but really, really cool. And I've just been looking up the meaning of the whales, and my mind is blowing. I've got a whole pile of animal totem books beside my bed, but it's under a pile of stuff, so I just quickly looked it up and found the one that I knew was what it meant to me, but I wanted clarification before I made this video because I didn't want to put it out there and get it wrong. Because when it comes to animal totems, for Indigenous people, they're really important. And if I'm teaching you about animal totems and one of these whales is one of your totems and I tell you the wrong meaning, then I'm a bad teacher. So I just wanted to clarify it. It's what I thought they meant anyway, but I just wanted to double check, and I was right. Luckily, one of the websites was talking about how the whales mean different things to different Indigenous tribes, and obviously, a lot of respect for that, for doing it. So, because what one spirit meaning means for one Indigenous race of people could be something completely different for another. And of course, like Māori people don't have wolf totem, or because we, sorry, because we don't have wolves in New Zealand, but our knowledge of wolf totem is because obviously we remember when we came from other countries and other cultures, because we're navigators to the stars, because we originally started in Africa. And we ended up becoming like Jewish and Egyptian and Chinese and Taiwanese and Chilean and Peruvian, Mesoamerican and Polynesian and that. So we took all our stories with us, and this is poignant. There's a reason why I'm telling you this, especially because of what happened with my mum when I fell asleep yesterday and when I had that dream yesterday morning. So, my cosmic whale dream. It started out pretty scary, actually. I was in a crate, like a wooden crate, with these other people on the ocean, and we were floating on the ocean. We just escaped something with our lives, like we just escaped something really bad. And it was kind of like that. Finally, we're free. Finally. And then we just saw this whale coming up from under the water, and it just swallowed us. And there was just like this sense of hopelessness of like, oh my God, we just escaped that. And now we're being swallowed up by a whale. The thing was, it was a sperm whale, but it was black and white, like an orca. This is important. And then just when we were kind of like hitting its stomach, thinking, oh well, this is it, like we're going to starve to death, we're going to run out of oxygen, sort of like all hope is lost sort of thing. It kind of did this. You know when you put your thumb in your mouth and push your lips and blow on your thumb like you're trying to blow up a balloon? It kind of did that and shot us up through the blowhole so fast that we ended up in the cosmos. And it was all like made up of different colours, and we could see all the stars and the celestial bodies, and it was the most incredible feeling. And hang on, it was just like, oh my God, this is amazing, like far out. Oh my God. And it was like everybody knew that something bigger than us had happened. that it could only have been from God or the cosmos, or it was like, it was so spectacular what we just witnessed, what we just experienced. You could only describe it as being like an act of God, or like the cosmos working in your favor, or something. And it's like the box opened up like a flower. It just kind of gently opened up, and we were standing on the bottom of it. And all of a sudden, we were standing on stage, and I could hear like violins and cellos and all that getting ready, tuning themselves in. And we were looking out on the stage, and there was just like a sea of people in front of us getting ready to hear our concert. And then it was like I was on the stage, but I was looking down over the stage, and it was musicians and the kids in that putting on concerts, putting on, you know, it could have been, I don't know if it was Night of the Black Sun or my opera, but I know that there were normal musicians and classical musicians all on stage with the kids in there, and they were tuning their instruments and just having this overwhelming sense of pride. Not like a, look what I did that, but like a, oh my God, I did it. And having pride, like, I finally did it. Now, when you look at the interpretation of this, hang on, just remember, as I said, if I go quiet, I'm having a sip, or Elon's cut me off. Anyway, being in the box on the water, feeling trapped emotionally, feeling like you know the direction you want to go in, you can feel the direction you want to go in, because water is intuition and emotion. But feeling trapped, which is obviously, everything that's been happening with me, that's exactly spot on, right? But there's other people in the same boat. There's other people in and around my atmosphere who know that there's more waiting out there for them, but they don't know how to get there or what it is, or like they know they're being called to do something, but they don't know what it is. And obviously, judging by the dream, they're musicians, fellow musicians. They're all musicians. And it's really funny because I started being followed by someone on X a few days ago, and they reached out to me yesterday and said, hey, could you follow our band? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I clicked on them, and I was like, listen to their music, and I instantly saw what I could use them for. Oh, I could use them for this, 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 and this. And I said to them, look, in the not too distant future, Cosmic Whale, I need musicians. I'm going to need musicians from all different kind of genres in there. I might have some work for you, because basically I just need the musicians to translate the music that I'm writing in my head, the music that I'm composing, into playable music and sheet music, so that we can structure it into the musical to then hand to the children, right? So the musicians that I'm looking for wouldn't necessarily be the stars of the show, or even anyone playing in the concerts and that, not necessarily. If we need fill-ins, or we don't have any of the kids playing the instruments at the school, we need a then yeah. But they're the mentors. They'd be hovering over the kids, watching over the kids, and being like their music teachers, but being the first ones. They would be helping me bring it to life, right? Cosmic Whale. Gathering a group of musicians to help me bring my musicals to life, my music to life, right? But I need to, this one, they're a punk band. So, you know, I was thinking Night of the Black Sun, but also I was thinking music for some of my video games and movies and that, and cartoons especially. So I thought, you know, if any of these musicians in this band were interested in coming with me to work with me, and they don't have to live in the same country as me, you know, in this day and age with tinterwebs and all of that, they can just record it in their little studios or whatever, and then pass on the information to my engineer and producer and all that sort of thing. I can have my musicians live anywhere in the world before I build my foundation, because by the time I get the kids in, I need to be able to have Night of the Black Sun ready to go, so that these kids are spending their time in class, learning the music and mastering and that, and then working with the actors and, you know, then putting it together on stage and all that sort of thing. Cosmic Whale. This is what it all means, right? So, yeah, so there's musicians out there who they know there's something more for them waiting out there, but they don't know where to go or where to find it. And it's like we're all in the same boat, because I know where I'm going, but I don't know how to find it. But I'm putting myself out there anyway, and I'm starting to circle the flock. You know, birds of a feather flock together. With me being asked to follow this band and being followed by obviously one of the, I don't know if she's the partner to one of the musicians or a fan or whatever, but she said our band. So it's like, okay, well, I can do this. Like, why can't I just approach musicians and bands and that, who aren't rich and famous and, you know, winning Grammys and all that sort of thing? Why can't I scout for them online and look for the musicians that I'm looking for, whether they're classically trained, or, you know, they're in a rock band, or even if they play weird and wonderful instruments, harpists and, you know, they, all that sort of thing. Like, why can't I approach them just like I did with Osaka Pop Stars? Well, technically they came to me first, but I was the one that approached them and said, hey, look, I'm just waiting for some legal stuff to tie up, but in the not too distant future, I need to find musicians. Even if one of them says, hell yeah, I'll do that, because I mean, they're going to get paid to do it. They're going to get credit on all the albums we make, and they're going to be recognised as mentors for underprivileged children from all around the world, who are going to come to stay at my foundation and learn how to master their craft, because of the mentors, you know, that I'm going to find in these musicians. So if that band say no, we're not interested, that, you know, it's like, if you don't ask, you won't receive. So it's like, okay, so why can't I approach musicians on Instagram and X and that and say, hey, look, I'm looking for some musicians to do this, and this. If you're interested, here's my email and I'll tell you all about it, which means I'm going to have to write up like a little pre-scripted thing that I can send them. My name is Debbie Callahan. I'm about to build a creative art school for children, and, you know, fill in the blank for the name of the country. And I'm looking for, you know, a collection of musicians who are prepared to give up their time, to be paid to help be music teachers for these children, underprivileged children from all around the world. And I call them underprivileged because it doesn't necessarily have to do have anything to do with their socio-economic situation, but underprivileged as in, they're being silenced, they're being abused, they're not being recognised for their talents, you know, they're being misunderstood, misrepresented by their schools, their counsellors, their families. Well, that's underprivileged. You know, when a child is underprivileged, they are not receiving the privileges that a child deserves, which is a good education, the right education to suit their intellect, their gifts and talents, emotional support, a family bonded unit, people who understand them, people who don't judge them, where they've got a roof over their head, where they're warm, where they're dry, where they're fed. That's a privileged child. And unfortunately, we've got too many underprivileged children in this world, and some of them are creative. They're, they have incredible singing voices. They're artistic. They're designers. They're cooks. They're writers. They're actors. They're singers. They're classical musicians, and that these are untapped talent that haven't got the privilege of being recognised for the stars that they are. And I keep saying, my kids are the stars, and I'm the universe that holds them. Because this isn't about me. This is about me creating a safe environment for these children to come from all over the world where they can shine like the stars that they were born to be. And my foundation is that universe that holds them, Cosmic Whale. So, yeah, so when the whale came up and swallowed us, feeling like, I mean, if you live in countries like America, Germany, France, Great Britain, and you've got gifts and talents, and you know that you've got something extra to give to the world, but you've got presidents and prime ministers who are working on the grand plan to kill off all the kids and stifle your creativity and literally suck the life out of you, that's a hopeless feeling. Like, we're never going to get out of this situation. We're never going to get rid of our prime ministers and presidents, and we're never gonna, that sense of hopelessness. Being swallowed up, it's overwhelming. But I was completely calm. I was just thinking, how are we going to get out of this? How are we going to get out of this whale? Like, is that it? Like, we've gone through all this, and we're just going to end up with no food, no air, because remember, that's what they're trying to do, kill our food, kill our air, all that sort of thing. And then the whale blew us out. Now, it looked like on the outside of Orca, but it was the size of a sperm whale. This mofo was huge, right? But it was bigger than obviously the average, because it swallowed us up like we were a grape. That's how big it was, Cosmic Whale. When it blew us up out of the blowhole, well, firstly, yeah, when it blew us up out of the blowhole, it means something unexpected coming, an unexpected surprise, something that's going to be like mind blowing, like whoa, sort of thing, right? So then we were up in the cosmos, which means that whatever's coming, it's coming straight from God. It's like supernatural. It's something magical. It's something that we're like, not just the whole world is going to be opened up to us, but like the universe is letting us see in advance the gift that we're about to receive because we had faith. Jonah and the whale, in the Bible, Jonah and the whale. Because we had faith, the cosmos is going to open up to us and show us what's waiting for us on the other side of this journey. Now, orcas, because the whale was black and white, you have to look at it from the perspective of the light and the dark of the situation. Where there is darkness, there is light, and where there is light, there is darkness. You don't appreciate the light until you know the darkness, right? You have to go down into the depths of darkness in order to appreciate the light once you see it, because it's the light of salvation. The light saves you. And we were like in the depths of the ocean, in the depths of the belly of this whale, so which is classic high functioning creative empathic genius. They know how to go down there with their anxiety, their depression, their hopelessness, and because I'm the scientist that knows how to bring all of that up out of the water. It means that my experience as an ascension scientist is going to be what uplifts them and brings them up out of the depths of their darkness and despair and hopelessness, and put them on the universal stage of creativity and pride and construction and development and because when the box opened up like a flower, almost like a lotus flower, and remember lotus flowers grow from the stank, they grow from the yuck. It's like out of darkness comes their light, out of their despair comes hope. So, and I've always known that my musicians weren't necessarily, that they were all going to be on varying levels of ascension, but that they were all going to be high funks. And that if anyone was going to help them turn their pain into power and their destructive mental health and all of that, the depression, maybe they drink or do drugs or self-harm, I don't know. But I'm the person out of all the people in the world that are going to be able to help them turn that from the stanky sludge of the water into a lotus flower. And the lotus flower to me also reminds me of lily pads, and those two things to me personally mean being on stage, putting yourself out there and being on stage, standing on stage and putting yourself out there to be noticed, to be seen. And it was like in this dream I was saying to the musicians that I bring on board, look what you've helped me create. Look at the good you've helped me do for these children because you trusted your intuition and you followed me. And now look at the good that you get to put back into the world from the darkness of the past that you've had to step out of by trusting me to lead you into the light. And now you're going to be, because I've always known that whatever it is that I create ends up making history. People are like, I'm going to end up famous. People are going to know my name. That was the whole point of my ascension trial. When you get to the end of this trial, the whole world's going to know your name. You're going to end up making history for what I do. And what I do is going to end up being taught in schools. I wonder if it's not my ascension science, whether, the psychology of the ascension sciences. I'm wondering if that's what it is that's going to be taught in schools, where there's going to be like in primary schools and high school and that, intermediate classes for teaching the psychology of the creative mind, so that these children are taught young, you're not weird, you're not a freak, geek, nerd, dork or weirdo, you're special, you're gifted. And this is what you need to do, and this is how we as a school, as the education system, this is how we're going to help you become the next Mozart or Luciano Pavarotti or I don't know, Rolling Stones or Charles Dickens or whoever. Because we're listening now. We're going to make up for what we got wrong. And it's not going to be about therapists and medication and punishing you for, doing art in the back of your book that's like people being stabbed and bloodshed and that. Like now we understand it, we're going to recognise it for what it is, and we're going to help turn your gift into something that helps us all. And then these kids, these schools and that will be proud to put up the art and proud to put on the concerts and that, because they're going to recognise what these kids actually are. They're just lotus flowers who thrive in the sludge, who just need the right environment to be able to open up and take their place on the world stage, to be a star in the cosmos. And I'm wondering if, because that's what the prophecy said, that I would couple faith with science. I'd marry faith and science. My teacher said religion and science, but it's faith and science. To create something that would be taught in schools all around the world. And I'm wondering if it's not my ascension sciences, So anyway, looking at the fact that it was the colour of an orca, but it was a sperm whale. Orcas, their totem are for communication, putting yourself out there, learning how to talk in a way that gets attention, learning to put yourself out there in a way that gets attention. It also means sticking together as a family unit, like coming together as a family unit, protecting the pod, protecting, the little babas, and doing what's right for the whole and not the self. Intuition as well. And the sperm whale is all to do with connecting the cosmos with the planet. Crap, I'm trying to remember. The subconscious, the sperm whale rules the subconscious, which is everything I'm talking about, the ascension sciences and that. You have to be able to have a balanced subconscious mind in order to be able to tap into the creative conscious mind, which is where the cosmos is. So it all made sense. It also represents communication with the ancestors as well. The sperm whale represents being the voice or the bridge between the living and the dead, but specifically your ancestors and your deceased loved ones. And remember in that dream yesterday, my mum turned up in my dream. I was in what I think was Beliskin Cemetery before any of my ancestors of the Fraser Lovett side had died, and she said that Amber had a surprise for me. And she patted my tummy and talked about being hapu, about being pregnant. And that's everything the sperm whale represents. Messages from the other side, messages from the cosmos. And the sperm whale is like not being afraid to go there, not being afraid to look at the darkness. And also, that was the other thing with Orca, having to make choices. When you're in a situation where you've got to make hard decisions, you call on the Orca totem to help you make those hard decisions. And that's what's kind of happening at the moment with me, because I'm having to look at people, places, and things in my life at the moment. It's like, do I really want to bring them with me? Are these people really going to be productive if I continue collaborating with these people now? I'm in situations in my life at the moment where I'm putting in all the work, which is the story of my life, and that's exactly what Orca is. Orca totem makes you look back and go back to things where it's like, if you move forward with this, is it the right decision for you, or are you stepping into another karmic loop? Because karmic loops hold you back. You can't progress when you're in a karmic loop. It's like being in a hamster wheel. And I keep repeating the same pattern over and over and over again, where I'm the loyal one. And I show up and I do the work and I put in all the effort, and I get nothing on the other side, or minimal effort. But I keep showing up because I'm loyal. Curse of the bloody Scorpio. And it's almost like the whale was saying, are you sure you want to put more effort into these dynamics? And I made the decision, no, I don't. I can't do it anymore, because it's holding me back, it's slowing me down. And, when I'm the one that's feeding everyone, but I'm starving, how does that help me? And that is the biggest mistake that empaths make. Just your normal, average, everyday empath could save themselves a lot of trouble, and it's worse for a high funk because they have very few close relationships. A high funk is isolated in the world, isolated in society, so they don't have like swathes of friends. They're not people that'll have hundreds of people in their phone. They'll have maybe two or three, but they hold on to them because they're valuable to them, because friendships aren't easy for them to make, and they're even harder to hold on to if they're around people who aren't of the same ilk. And so it becomes almost abusive, emotionally, mentally abusive, but you also do it to yourself because you're not cutting the cord to walk away. It's better to be by yourself and be healthy and balanced than be in dynamics where it hurts you emotionally, mentally, financially, physically, whatever, you know. These aren't people that are conducive to you. They're not the same match. You can be twins to them, you can be the yin and yang of each other, but if they're not meeting you on the same level, then there's an imbalance in the dynamic, and you're the one left carrying the weight of the relationship, and that's not fair. That's not a healthy relationship. That's where they're using you as an energy supply, like energetic vampires. And the trouble that just your normal, average, everyday empath, Cancerians and Aquarians and that especially, find it impossibly hard to not show up every day feeling the need to be the better person. You know, if someone's treating them like crap, if you've been treated like crap, you put up with it because, well, you know, they're going through something, or, you know, but it's like nothing changes. Like for 10 years, every time you're around them, it's the same thing, the same energy, and they hang around you because you make them feel better. But then when they leave, they fall back into that depression, they fall back into that darkness. But then they come around you and you make them feel better, and then, you know, but then you're left drained. And after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of being around the same people at work or the same people at school, and that, you're the one that's left depleted. But you have that mindset of, but I'm being, you know, I've got to be the better person because, you know, it's not their fault they're going through this and going through that. But it's like, yeah, it is their fault, because they're the ones that are choosing not to help themselves to fix it. They're the ones that are choosing to stay in the darkness and the sludge. You don't have to put up with it. Why should you be carrying the weight of somebody else's burdens when they're doing absolutely nothing to get themselves out of it? Why should you be the one to come along and think that just because you believe in God, or because you're spiritual, or you have a gift, or you're an empath, that you have to put up with that kind of disrespect? And it is disrespect. They don't respect you enough to understand the boundaries of the dynamic of the relationship you have, whether it's that they're a, you know, it's love life, or someone you work with, or someone you're at school with, or someone in your family. It doesn't matter the dynamic, it's all the same thing. It's like they're coming to you for your blood, you know, because like your blood perks them up. They, you know, like you're donating your blood to them, but you're not being given the cookies at the end to help bring your energy levels back up. So you're just being drained and drained and drained and drained, and it's just drip, 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 and you're being left to bleed. And they're doing nothing to plug you up. They're doing nothing to, you know, replenish your energy supply. They're just taking, 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 and it has to stop. And this is what I'm here to teach. But the thing is I have to lead by example. So I've had to do it in my own life. Do I really want to be around this person? Do I really want to be around these people? Do I really want to keep hanging around this situation, repeating the same patterns with the same friends, the same potential love it, well, not lovers because I'm not a whore, but potential future life partners? Do I, like, I keep repeating the same patterns with these people where I give, 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 and they don't, or they'll give it, you know, a little drop and expect, you know, well, I gave you that, be grateful. Or where you need their help and they don't offer a solution. you know, with your friends and your family and your love interests in that, if you've got something going on and you need their help and you go to them and, you know, they cut you off or they do nothing about it. These are not people who, even if the solution they have to offer doesn't help, at least they're offering some kind of solution. But if you don't even get that, are you sure these people care about you? And that's what I'm saying. This is what the dream is saying. I'm going to find people in the same boat as me where I'm the captain of the ship and I'm taking them from unsure, unstable situations in their life to something cosmic. And what it is going to come as a result of the end of all my hard work of, you know, I mean, the Ascension sciences, I turned Ascensions into a science. And that's been since 2006, so 20 years. That's when my mum died in 2005, and it was just after mum died that Chris started having those seizure things got worse. So we took him to the doctor, and it turns out it was a mental health thing. And it was 2006, I believe, is when I started. That's when the doctor gave me the pamphlet, and that's when I changed his diet. I changed his environment. I encouraged him to move out into the country, so we went from Liverpool to Derbyshire. And we had been living there for a couple of years. It was the end of 2006. I got pregnant with Thomas in 2008. I had a miscarriage and then got pregnant with him in 2008, had him in 2009, by which point we'd already moved up to Scotland. But it was me that encouraged him to make those life changes in order to save his mental health, and it worked because the mental tics stopped. He stopped having those little tics. Some of them were so bad his face would droop, and I thought it was Bell's palsy, but it was because of me and working with him that it all stopped. And then, of course, by the time he became a father, that's when the rages started. And because then I was focusing on the kids. I'm wondering if that's what it was. He was jealous and angry at me because once I became a mum, I started focusing on the kids and it was no longer about him, which is typical narcissistic. Typical narcissist. I had to sit there and listen to him tell me in front of my 3-month-old, I wish we'd never had him. So, 20 years of studying my ex-husband, I turned it into the Ascension Sciences. I was able to recognise, because of him working in the games industry and being an artist, and I was the writer, that there are people in our creative fields who had the exact same story, the exact same life pattern, and that's when I started to recognise what it was and putting two and two together. And this dream was saying everything I've learned about the subconscious, everything that I've studied about the conscious mind in conjunction with the subconscious mind, which was also the reason why it was an orca black and white, yin and yang. I'm going to help it. I'm going to use it to take people out of the darkness and into the light. And I've always known that all the mentors that I employ, the writers, the artists, the musicians, the programmers, the whoever, that they were all going to be on varying levels of ascensions, but that they were all going to be high funks. And as their boss, I'm going to be the perfect person to know how to work around their, what I call their duvet days. And, you know, I'm going to be able to help them heal, and then in turn they're going to be able to pass that on to the kids. And then we all get to perform together on the world stage, so to speak. We'll all get to work together, which is Orca, to put something beautiful out there that the rest of the world is really going to appreciate, because it was swathes of people that were turning up to sit and listen to what it was that we were about to perform. Now, there were normal musicians and there were classical musicians, and I could hear the violins and all that, when they're tuning their instruments and stuff, and I could hear the bom, 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 bom of like bass guitar and that sort of thing. So I'm going to assume it's Night of the Black Sun, because my opera doesn't have rock, like normal musical instruments. It only has a symphony, an orchestra. So it's like my mum was saying and my ancestors were saying, after everything I've been through, after everything I've done, I'm going to use it to bring others up out of the depths of the darkness and into the light, and create music with it. Like, basically, my future is the foundation and Night of the Black Sun, and focus on the music, focus on the orchestra, focus on the performances, focus on building a stage for all my little stars to shine on. That is my future. And I was saying to this band yesterday, when I get out of here, the first thing I need to do is Night of the Black Sun. I got to do my dating app, got to get my games company set up to do my dating app. I got to get my musicians together to help me put Night of the Black Sun together, because even if the foundation isn't built, even near built, and we don't have the stage, and we're still under construction and that sort of thing, there's no reason why we can't put this performance on and just broadcast it out over the radio, because I'm going to have an internet radio station. So there's no reason why we can't all film it in a recording studio, because in my house I'm going to have a recording studio. So we absolutely could just do it all there, in my house or in my backyard or in my garage or whatever, and then just broadcast it out over the radio. There's no reason why we can't do that if we haven't built the stage yet, if our amphitheatre hasn't been built, if I've only just bought where I'm building the foundation, if it's still under construction, the musical can still go ahead. And that's what my mum was saying. You can still do this even if you don't have an actual stage. You can put it out into the ethers. You can put it out into the cosmos. Even if we have to bring in 5 people, even if it's a teeny tiny little room like my bedroom, and we've got nothing but mics and a soundproof room, and we're having to come in and do it a few people at a time, and then have my sound editors and that zip it all together so it sounds like we were all in one room together. By the time we put it out over my little fire station radio, to the rest of the world, it's going to sound like they're listening to a record or a performance in a theatre. And then once everything's up and built, well, we can do it on the stage in front of a live audience and broadcast that as well. And that's what the cosmic whale is, macro to the micro. Look at the big things, look at the little things, and put it all together. We were looking down at the world stage, we were looking down at the stage from the position of the cosmos. So the macro to the micro. And then basically, my mum saying, and it's, it's really weird, because when I was 17 living in Sydney, Australia, I had a situation that was unsafe for me to be in, and I needed to get out of there. And I was put on a bus and went across the Nullarbor Plains. It was one of the greatest adventures in my life, and I 100% intend on going across the Nullarbor Plains again, but this time in a camper van. I want to do that trek from Sydney to Perth, Western Australia, where I grew up, where my parents were. And, excuse you, I'm trying not to burp. And just before, it was the night before, I got on the bus to make that 2.5 day trek across Australia, to get back to my parents. I had a dream that I was swimming with a mama whale and a daddy whale in the water, and I was a baba whale. And when I turned up at my parents' place in Belmont in Perth, Western Australia, in their living room, they had on their wall a picture, a framed picture of a mama whale, a daddy whale, and a baby whale. And when I had that dream and I woke up, that's the first thing I thought. Oh my God, that was the whales from when I was 17. And it's like my mum saying, my mum and my Māori ancestors, because it was my Māori ancestors that were the musicians. It's my Māori side that is the reason why I love to sing. You know, we grew up, all Māori people grow up with the guitars. You bring the guitars out before you put the music on. But my dad was the one that introduced me to the love of opera and classical, even though growing up I thought it was embarrassing and nerdy. Now I fully embrace it. I follow an opera thing on Instagram because I'm trying to learn it. Learning about operas is so hard. There's so much more to learn than I thought. But now I know what kind of singers I'm looking for. There was a man singing, an Italian opera singer, quite a young guy too. And I thought, oh my God. So I can't remember, I can't remember what voice they said he had, but I liked it, so I can go back to my likes to figure out. But the type of voice that he had, all I saw was Yasir, and I thought, oh my God! So when I'm auditioning for people to play the role of Yasir, he needs to be a. I think it started with C. I think it started with C, but I might be wrong. Definitely wasn't alto. But I'm paying attention. And this is what the dream is saying, because I'm paying attention, and I'm following my heart and doing what I love, it's going to pay off big time, and it's going to pay off on the world stage, in a way where I'm going to be able to hold everybody else aloft, and let them shine because they trusted their intuition and followed me. So that's what that whole dream meant. So how cool. So aside from having my movies made, and because obviously the first movie I want to make is the Amber Rose, I need to get my dating app made. From my games company needs to work on that before we even begin to work on any of like the AAAs and that. But after the dating app, we've got to start making those mini games for my server. Then I need my IT company to build my server to put these mini games in that on, right? So then also working on Night of the Black Sun to get all that together, while at the same time me finding the talent and going to these governments and that and saying, be a part of this scheme, because I need to bring your children and bring them into my foundation. I need to get these governments and these schools and all of that to agree to let me take their kid for a year so that I can turn them into the genius part of the high functioning creative. So that's what the dream is saying. So, it means that I've got to make some more cuts. I've got to let go of people and places and situations that just they didn't put in the work. They didn't put in the effort. You know, you can only wait around so long and wait for people to catch up. and you talk till you're blue in the face. I need you to do this, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, we've got to start making plans, we've got to start doing this. And after years of nothing, it's like, really, you waited years, Debbie, you should have given it a few weeks and then walked away. But it's the whole loyalty thing. But orca and the sperm whale. Sperm whale makes you look at the things that are between the orca and the sperm whale is basically God, the universe, my mum, my ancestors saying, take a good, long, hard look at this. Are you sure this is something you want to bring into the future? And it's like, no, like without hesitation, no. Because like I'm done with putting in all the effort and getting nothing in return. I'm done with that because I need to focus on the future. I need to focus on finding my musicians and getting to the kids, because we're living in a world, being swallowed up by the whale, where our world leaders are hell bent on making sure that these children not only not have a bright future, but don't even have a life. They want to kill them all off. But I'm showing people the way. Between my physics and my ascension science, I'm showing people the way. I'm showing people how to get out of it. And as a result, my future awaits. And the future is fire. And I've got it all planned, all ready to go. I just need to find the musicians. I just need to find the programmers, the IT specialists. I just need to find them. And it's like, why can't I approach them? And if they think it, that what I have to offer is something they want to be a part of, then great. But if not, just keep looking. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, 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 swimming. And I am the Oracle of Delphine. They said my name, Sir Raphael, and they said we call you Delphine. I'm the Oracle of Delphine, the Oracle of Dolphin. So if anybody knows how to swim, it's a bloody dolphin. So I'm going to go and have my cereal now because it's been sitting. My probiotics make you a bit. They're all organic. It's all natural Chinese herbal medicines. And one of the things they make you do is it makes you sleepy. But it makes you sleepy because it's like it works with the part of the brain that heals women from trauma. And you have the high cortisol spikes in that, and when you have the high cortisol spikes, you can't sleep. And I had like 22 years of being abused by a narcissistic predator, right? So it works with the brain to lower your levels and all of that, but it makes you relax, and lets you catch up on the sleep you lost because of the abuse. And I wasn't just abused by him, I was abused by the doctors and the cops and, the Elon Musks and Keir Starmers and that of the world. They all joined in. They were a pack of predators. And so, when you're hypervigilant for 20 plus years, or on the widest, on the macro scale, 26 years, so these probiotics that I got from China, oh my God, they've been like a godsend. They're everything. The Chinese really know what they're doing when it comes to herbs, herbal medicine. So, herbal medicine, not anything to do with animals, herbs, the plants. So, and this is all, these probiotics, it's all plants, and it's just, I feel like I'm having a vacation. When you go on holiday and you're just like, oh, and you just relax and you enjoy the food and you enjoy the music and you enjoy the sun. And yep, that's all because of these probiotics. Absolutely amazing. So, yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to go and enjoy my breakfast and finish my coffee. All my chores have been done, so I'm going to enjoy the Sabbath and sit and wait to see what happens. But yeah, I'm going to start swimming and gather my flock, and anyone who wants to get on the boat with me, um, we'll sail away together into the cosmos. I can't wait, I'm excited. So I have a potential punk band, whether they all want to come on board or only one of them wants to come on board. Or if none of them want to come on board, at least now I know I've got the guts to approach these people, because if you don't ask, you don't get. One of them's bound, someone I approach is bound to say, I would love to do this. I'd love to do this with you. My nephew in Australia, I'm going to be setting him up to do, because he's going to be helping me write my action movie. He's going to be coming on board as one of my writers. He's an Aquarius. If anyone's going to be able to help you open up your creative, imaginative mind, it's an Aquarius. And he helped me write the Quantum Menace one. He's also going to be doing a lot of the voices for some of the characters in that. I'm going to be setting him up with his own little recording studio in Australia. So if I have to do that with my musicians, and a lot of them probably already have their own recording studios, you know, they can do it all from home, after work, on the weekends. They can have a full-time job. But I know now, after that dream, in my heart, there's musicians out there who are everything I'm looking for, who I'm everything they're looking for. They know there's something more for them out there. They just don't know what it is. And with any luck, I'm going to be able to come along and wave my magic wand and go, bring, come and join me. And they're like, yes, oh my God, yes. And then if some of them want to, they might want to pack up and come and live at the foundation for a year and actually live there as like staff, which would be great. But for now, let's just start small. Macro to the micro, cosmic whale. So that dream is just everything. Probably the most informative, most important dream I've ever had. And it all came from my mama. Because whales to Māori people are everything. They're probably our most important, most respected, highly valued totem. Because New Zealand, you know, we've got all the whales. Like, New Zealand's famous for its whales. And you know the movie Whale Rider, right? So, I speak whale. I am the whale rider. And I shouldn't be, just like the whale rider. She was a girl. She shouldn't be the next chief, because she's a girl. I'm the youngest of the family. I'm not supposed to be the whale rider. I'm not, so you know, my royal bloodline. It's my sister took over from my mother, who took over from my grandmother, and all of that. It's not supposed to be me, because I'm the youngest. From a family hierarchical point of view, it's not supposed to be me. It's supposed to be my oldest sister. So, but it is. I'm like the lowest in the food chain when it comes to the hierarchical system. And yet I'm the one who's making the biggest impact when it comes to the Ngāti Raukawa people. Well, I will be once I put it all out there. Just wait till you see what I've got planned when it comes to the Māori side of my empire. It's going to be quite spectacular. So I'm going to go and have my breakfast. And yeah, I will call and the musicians will come. The right ones anyway. But, you know, the other people, they had their chances and they didn't do anything. So it's like I'm not waiting anymore. And it's like before I felt guilty for walking away, and I'd always go back and I'd always go back and I'd always go back, worried about how they were doing, worried about their mental health. Like all the people that I'm having to walk away from, not just anyone in particular, but now it's like, nah, not anymore. I carry no guilt. I don't care anymore. I've cut it all off, and I feel liberated, like the whale. And by cutting it off, it's allowed me to see the bigger picture, and it's like, yes, the future is fire. And focus on Night of the Black Sun and do it, Debbie, just do it. Don't be afraid to approach these people. Do it. So that's what I'm doing. So if you're a musician out there and you can play music, either, your conventional musical instruments, if you're in a rock band or a pop band or whatever, or you're a classical musician and you think you want to get on board with what I'm doing, I'm going to leave my email in the description box below. Do not message me on Instagram or X, because Elon Musk will make sure I don't get the messages, or will find some way to make sure that it all gets banned and shut down. Proton Mail. I'll leave it in the description box until I get justice for what they've been doing. Just Proton Mail, and then we can either work through Telegram or just continue emailing each other. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But just don't DM me on X and that, because he doesn't even let me see the requests I have. He doesn't let me see when I get liked or shared or anything like that, because I'm really heavily shadow banned. Because the one thing that cult of Epsteiners don't want me doing is getting those kids on that stage, because then it means I got justice. And that means that if I get justice, I'm saving children from being victims of human trafficking. And that's what Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Keir Starmer don't want me doing. And Christopher Black, they don't want me saving children, because if I save children, they don't get a supply to hurt. Okay? So I'll leave my email in the description box. If you think that you want to get on board with this, we can work together now to start putting, because then if I've got your encouragement, it will help me pick up what I put down from the musical and continue it, and I can finish it. The storyline's pretty much there to go. I just need to write all of that out and then get someone to turn that into a script. But I need help with the music, taking the music from what I can hear in my head and helping me turn it into an actual song. It's like War of the Worlds. So if you want to get on board with doing like a new War of the Worlds radio broadcast musical about a zombie apocalypse and that, then email me. Or if you know someone who might be interested, email me and we'll take it from there. So I'll speak to you later. Happy Sabbath. Ka kite anō. Mwah.